gut information and stuff for us as ladies and all of the garbage that we get to deal with as we get older. Some weight loss stuff, some crazy rage, there we go, okay. And again, if you want copies of what I'm reading, you only have part of it. So if you want this, that's what I sent you guys. I think you should have all gotten it in your inbox. Okay. Remember, this is just stuff that all came off of the internet. However, the sources that I found were, reputable sources for the information. Again, this is an at-risk series. This is just for information. If you try any of this stuff on your own, consult your physician first, all of those things. Gut health after 40, and I picked 40 just because that's the general age of when stuff starts to fall apart. Your gut changes through slower digestion, shifting hormone levels, and a level of diverse microbiome. These shifts are led in more bloating, food sensitivity, and frequent constipation. Physical and metabolic shifts. Slow motility. The muscles in your digestive tract move food slower, which unfortunately leads it so that the food can sit and ferment longer, and that's where the bloating comes from, is because the muscles are just, they're not, I don't want to say they're not as strong, maybe they're on vacation, but they just won't push, and they won't, the peristalsis won't kick anything into overdrive to just get things to come through at a normal speed. There's also less stomach acid. Your stomach makes less acid, which can lower vitamin absorption and cause mild heartburn. Has anybody had to deal with the heartburn? I've never had that. You have?
A bird in acid reflux.
So you might be able to outrun a bear, but it sounds like this is not working well for you. And then the weaker gut barrier. The lining of the gut can become more permeable, raising systematic inflammation, leaky gut syndrome. I've never had that either. I know a lot of people probably go undiagnosed with that.
What are the symptoms of leaky gut? I've heard that before, but I know nothing about it.
I do not know the symptoms of leaky gut. We can look that up if you would like afterward. And then there's hormonal and microbial changes, the fluctuations, changing in testosterone and estrogen levels affect the speed of your gut as well as the microbiome. Microbiome imbalances. The beneficial bacteria like lactobacillus decrease and reduce overall microbe diversity. Strategies. Eat more plants. Aim for a wide mix of vegetables, fruits, beans, and whole grains every week. Add fermented foods. However, this goes against, because they also tell you to go on to, has anybody heard of the term FODMAP?
Yeah.
It's low fermenting foods, because that's another way that they tell us to fight that. But now most of them say, oh, well, you need fermentable foods. Well, at the same time, depending on which way your body wants to go with that, you could end up building more gas. You could end up just being, it's not even gas, sometimes it's just, you're just swollen. Everything's just swollen and you can't get the fluids to flush back out again. So FODMAP is another way to go, and there's a million lists online for that. Fermentable foods, yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, or kimchi to bring the good bacteria back into your system. I don't know the terminology for it, but has anybody heard about the poop pill?
No.
So someone that's got a good microbiome, you can actually buy a pill of their microbiome. It works. It works. It's not something I am ever going to test, but it works. Because if your microbiome is completely destroyed from previous medications or illnesses or whatever, chemotherapy will do it. Antibiotics for an extended length of time will knock your system out of whack. So there's a lot there. Drink more water. That is another thing too. Proper hydration helps fiber move more slowly through the digestive tract. Some things that I've looked up. Lemon. Actual lemon juice causes more water to be sucked in, so that even if you have had enough but the water's just not working for you, the lemon will pull the rest of the fluid in from your body and into your digestive tract to help with that as well. Daily habits. Move your body. Take short walks after meals. if you can move right afterward, but you gotta be able to move right afterward. That also goes with anybody over 40 and the fact that they're telling people to no longer, there's a catch to this because at the end I'm gonna show you where they said to actually do heavy weights. Most people over 40 are responding to non-cortisol inducing exercise. Leisurely 20-minute walks. You don't want to get sweaty. You want to be able to do it at lunchtime in your work outfit. You should not have to raise your body temperature. You shouldn't overexert yourself. What you're doing is just moving after each meal. It doesn't have to be 20 minutes. My friend in Washington, she actually does 10 minutes after every meal. And what she could not drop, she's now starting to actually lose weight again. She has also tightened up her food. Her doctor told her, well, lay off the carbohydrates. And as soon as she laid off her oatmeal in the morning, her cholesterol shot up. And it was her gut instinct to keep the oatmeal in for her cholesterol. So I told her, I said, you know, your cholesterol went up and your gut instinct said stay on the oatmeal. So oatmeal, put it back in. So she doesn't eat breakfast till about 10 o'clock in the morning. So she tries to go from 7 or 8 o'clock at night till 10 o'clock the next morning, working closer to that 12-hour fasting window. Sleep. I can tell you to get enough sleep, but if you can't sleep, you can't sleep.
Right.
That is one of the things. That is one of the things. Another thing, if you can stop eating 3 hours before you go to sleep, that might actually help as well to sleep. And then I love when they give these suggestions. Lower your stress. Just lower your stress.
Thanks.
Some of the herbs and spices. So I tried to go with most of the, any of the supplements, herbs, spice suggestions. This is going to be as natural as they come. Peppermint relaxes the gut muscle to relieve cramps and bloating. Tea or capsules. Turmeric contains curcumin to lower gut lining inflammation, paired with black pepper for better absorption. Ginger calms the stomach upset and supports key gut bacteria. Are you noticing how some of these spices are also the same as the spices that were in the recipes from last week?
Can I just say, the things that I read about turmeric is, you also have to add an oil. So
It is oil, they tell you, yes, oil soluble, but yes, you are correct. Some people will tell you to make sure you take your turmeric with an oil. Cinnamon promotes the balance of the microbiome environment and helps stabilize your blood sugar. Targeted supplements, prebiotics and fiber feed the bacteria of the gut flora to keep digestion regular as microbiome diversity naturally evolves. L-glutamine nourishes the intestinal wall and supports the integrity of your gut barrier. Digestive bitters. This is a new one for me. I started this a couple of weeks ago. It's disgusting. It's the grossest thing I have ever had in my entire life. You're supposed to put 2 droppers on your tongue. I get half a dropper and I stop at half a dropper. It's gross. But if your body is not producing the bile that it used to produce, anything bitter on your tongue is a trigger for your body to open up the bile so it will actually flow again. It's not making it, it's triggering your own body to do it. That's the way it's explained to me
So
anyway.
you can't take it any other way. You need the reaction.
Yeah.
Uh,
And I said that to the lady too. It was over at Natura. I said that to her and I'm like, okay, well, some people think the word bitter is sour. She's like, oh no. She knows. She goes, this feels like death. I'm like, oh, that's
it's like if you ever accidentally tasted earwax.
earwax.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bitter. Yeah. Yes,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry to put that
No.
in.
No, exactly. So it stimulates natural digestive juices and enzymes production to ease post-meal heaviness. I will tell you, in Europe, if it's not the bitters, but in Europe for digestion after a meal, and probably other countries too, it's not licorice, anise,
Aniseed?
and what's the other one that's also licorice flavoring?
Chicory?
No. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But anyway, you chew some of the pods and then swallow it. Again, from last week, clove is also another one that will actually help relieve some of that. And the sage tea sage tea. Okay, let's move on to the hormones that are screwing everything up. The first one, there's 8 of them that are front and center most times. Anybody want to take a guess on the first one?
Estrogen,
Nope.
progesterone.
It's not a female hormone.
Testosterone.
Nope.
No.
Insulin.
Oh, it's
Insulin has
Insulin.
been linked to causing more problems in humans than all of the others. Why? Because we generally consume way too much sugar, way too much processed food, of which any of those blue zones that we talked about, they don't consume that stuff. They don't have a McDonald's. They don't go to the grocery store. They make their own bread. They grow their own wheat. They grind everything themselves. It's made by the pancreas, controls your blood sugar by helping cells take in glucose for energy. If insulin is high, we store or burn fat.
Store.
Yes, yes. And if it's low, we burn it. What I did is I took estrogen and I based it up against each one of these hormones to see what, when we lose estrogen, what it does. And I bet you're all gonna be like, great. Dropping estrogen. Estrogen helps control how your body responds to insulin. So when estrogen drops or bounces around, your cells become insulin resistant. So therefore you gain weight.
Go figure.
Belly fat shift. Hormonal changes prompt your body to store fat around your middle visceral fat instead of your hips and thighs. This belly fat is active tissue, releasing fatty acids and causing inflammation, which then worsens your insulin resistance, as well as increasing your fat stores, because once our estrogen drops, our body puts on fat because fat tissue makes estrogen.
Great.
Wow.
Any fat tissue is where our body will try to pick up once our ovaries slow down. I'm telling you, by the end of this, we'll just all be jumping off a cliff. Don't want to do it anymore, we're just done. And then the loss of muscle, which doesn't help the belly fat. Aging and changing hormones make it easier to lose active muscle mass, which lowers your body's ability to burn glucose efficiently, because your muscle is your metabolically active tissue and where it's going to burn that extra glucose. Symptoms: midsection weight gain, increased waist size, hip to weight ratio. Energy crashes, ongoing fatigue, sleeplessness, especially after eating meals high in carbohydrates. Cravings, strong urges for sugar, simple carbohydrates, because your body's just not getting enough steady fuel. It's not processing it anymore. Cognitive changes, brain fog, trouble focusing, and increased mood swings. There's your cray-cray. Area strategies, resistance training, within moderation, because then if you do too much weight training or too much running or too much cardio and your body's not used to it, you're increasing your cortisol. When your cortisol goes up, your insulin goes up and your body fat goes up. Aren't you all glad you came tonight?
It's a catch-22.
My body's fighting me every way.
It is. You are not joking. Some strategies: moderate resistance training, bands, weights, whatever you want to do. It helps to clear the glucose from your bloodstream. So even if your fat stores were to release energy, but you weren't doing any exercise afterward, it's going to just reabsorb back up into the fat cells. If you're going to get the energy to release, you've got to use the energy afterward. Slow walks. Here's that 20 to 30 minutes a day. Has anybody seen the commercials for the Tai Chi walking programs?
Yes.
While I'm not telling you to actually do that, what they're saying, that slow motion movement, is what's lowering the cortisol for women like us who are constantly on the run, who are constantly stressed out, who are constantly trying to get everything done, and we're not taking time to just chill. So that 20 to 30 minutes of slow, mindful. My friend in Washington, she still wants to truck it. And I'm like, you can't do that. That's not what the science is showing us any longer. You've got to bring the cortisol level down, brings the insulin down, allows your body to release the fat and use it. Gardening. Anybody like to garden?
Yes.
It is one of the best fat burners out there, because we generally get out in the garden, you're out there for a few hours. Once you hit I want to say the 60 or 90 minute mark, you're only burning fat after that. Nutrition focus, eating more high fiber foods. Here's where that's the catch-22 for not eating things that are gonna make you gassy though. Vegetables, beans, and whole grains. Lean proteins will slow down glucose absorption and keep your blood sugar stable. There is an anti-inflammatory menu, of which at the end of your packet, that's that 21-day reset. Manage your stress. I don't know why they keep putting that in there. Mental and physical both increase your cortisol, which will increase your fat storing. Berberine. People get this confused. There are some people that say that it is natural GLP-1. It is not. Berberine is almost equivalent to metformin, which is, they will tell you if you're on a diabetic medication, do not take berberine because you're double dosing yourself at that point in time. Some people who might not be at that level for full diabetes yet, their doctor may opt for the berberine because it can actually drop your blood sugar levels for you. When the berberine drops your blood sugar levels, your cortisol goes down, you can start to lose weight.
Is that a over-the-counter thing?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Again, do your research on the types of manufacturers and make sure you're getting something that's legitimate. NutriCost, I was telling her earlier, NutriCost is one of the brands that I've bought frequently and seems to have a pretty good, I've never had any reactions to any of their stuff. Everybody's different. In my mind, it's a good value for my money. I'm getting enough doses to find out whether or not it's gonna work for me. Berberine, there's different things on the dosages. 1,200 milligrams seems to be the sweet spot, and you break it up 3 times a day. That's the general recommendation from doctors.
Is that a total of 1,200 a day or?
1,200 total. You're getting 400 doses. There are medical options for our craziness and our hormones changing. HRT, you're in a group right now where you're trying to do things naturally, so are hormones natural? They sure are, but when they're being synthetically made, they are no longer natural. It's a game as to whether or not they can ever get the dosage correct for your craziness. A lot of people now are doing, a lot of women now are actually adding in extra testosterone or having extra testosterone added in. No, depends on who's doing it.
I'm just seeing hair growing on my face.
Well,
Take extra testosterone.
You actually already have testosterone in you anyway.
Yes.
So what they're doing is trying to bump you back up to the level that you should have been at naturally. So hopefully you will not be a Sasquatch by then. Hopefully.
Or get a deeper voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Okay, here are some of your natural remedies to control insulin. Cinnamon improves insulin sensitivity and lowers your fasting blood sugar. Turmeric contains curcumin, reduces inflammation, supports how your body handles insulin. Ginger helps your cells use glucose better and can lower overall insulin and fasting levels as well. Fenugreek, I've never tried this, but it's in a lot of things. Packed with soluble fiber, slows down carb absorption and steadies your blood sugar.
What was that?
Fenugreek, F-E-N-U, Greek. Black cumin, shown in recent studies to improve fasting blood glucose and reduce insulin resistance. Second on our list of hormones that are for metabolism and energy, thyroid. Made in your thyroid, manage your body's overall speed, heart rate, and how fast you burn calories. So someone who's hyperglycemic is probably usually pretty skinny. Someone who's hypo is probably a little on the rounder side. Hormonal fluctuations, particularly in estrogen and progesterone levels, can impact your thyroid function. Estrogen, in particular, can influence the production and utilization of your thyroid hormones. Changes in your estrogen level can alter your thyroid hormone levels, affecting metabolism, energy level, and overall health. Menopause can predispose women to thyroid disorders, such as hyper or hypo. Hypo, characterized by low levels of thyroid, can lead to symptoms of fatigue, weight gain, and depression. Hyper can cause symptoms such as weight loss, anxiety, and palpitations. So do you want to be jittery and skinny, or depressed and lumpy.
Wow, what is
Strategies, nutrition and diet. Consuming a balanced diet rich in iodine, selenium, and zinc help with natural thyroid function. There is I think it's the last page, there's one on there that actually says for progesterone hormones. You can see on there that it's got those some of the food suggestions on there for that. Regular exercise, boost your metabolism, we know that. Stress management, regular monitoring, regular thyroid function tests, and monitoring your hormone levels to see if anything is needed for medications. Here are some natural herbs and supplements. Ashwagandha. You're going to find ashwagandha in a lot of this stuff because it is an adaptogen. It helps your body adapt to its hormonal changes, is my understanding. Helps balance hormone levels of T4 in mild subclinical underactive thyroid cases. Lemon balm, an herb from the mint family that may help slow down a thyroid. Bugleweed, a traditional plant sometimes used to ease symptoms of hormone production in mild hyperthyroidism. Ginger contains magnesium and is an anti-inflammatory and may help reduce inflammation and improve hypothyroid symptoms. Turmeric with curcumin provides strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory actions to help protect thyroid tissues. And then the black cumin again may help lower thyroid antibodies, support hormone balance, and autoimmune conditions like Hashimoto's. Stress hormones, cortisol. Cortisol and insulin, remember, cortisol and insulin are like this, or like best buds. If one goes up, the other goes up. Cortisol, made by the adrenal glands, help your body handle long-term stress and manage blood sugar. If cortisol is high, you cannot burn fat. Stress, that's what I was going to say. Stress does not mean just mental. Stress means if you're running 10 miles. Stress means if someone scared you. Stress means if you're physically exhausted. Any stress at all increases that cortisol, any of it. Low estrogen makes your body's stress system more sensitive. So what you could have handled 5 years ago, you will no longer be able to handle now, or it will be harder, which can lead to higher levels of cortisol. Broken sleep cycle will also worsen the symptoms. It stresses the HPA axis. When estrogen drops, your brain stress cortisol center, which is in your HPA axis, loses its steady support and becomes reactive. More active cortisol, the body changes how it handles inactive stress chemicals, turning more of them into active cortisol when the estrogen is low. Poor sleep. Low estrogen causes night sweats, broken sleep, which naturally pushes bedtime and overnight cortisol levels higher. Strategies. Eat phytoestrogens, foods like soybeans. Some people are still on the bandwagon with soy products. However, the Asian culture lives on soy. They have less cancer than any one of us. It is making sure that you're actually getting whole soy, soybeans, edamame, any of that stuff. Flaxseed, tofu, and your meat, which contain plant compounds, gently mimic estrogen. In your meals, which contain plant compounds, generally mimic estrogen. Increasing your omega-3s. Walnuts, chia seeds, fatty fish like salmon, lower your stress hormones. But then, of course, you have to be careful because the higher the fat, the higher the calories in your meal. So then you have to pay attention to what you're eating. Key vitamins and minerals. Magnesium-rich foods like dark leafy greens and beans, plus B and D to support hormone health. Cut back on stimulants. Limit your coffee and alcohol because they can trigger and spike your cortisol because it is still a stimulant. Here's your herbs and spices. Ashwagandha again. Lowers circulating cortisol levels and supports your HPA axis, which is your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal gland axis. It's where they all intersect. Holy basil, which is also called tulsi, calms the nervous system and helps reduce stress-induced cortisol spikes. Rhodiola rosea combats fatigue and helps the body adapt to physical and mental strain. You will see the ashwagandha and the rhodiola a lot of times in some of those supplements where they mix a bunch of the adaptogens together. Lemon balm promotes relaxation and supports your GABA activity to soothe the nervous system. Chamomile eases anxiety and interferes with the inflammatory proteins that are elevated by cortisol. Turmeric contains curcumin, which lowers overall inflammation and oxidative stress on the adrenal system. Your second hormone in the stress and survival category, adrenaline, which is also epinephrine, made by the adrenal glands, triggers your quick fight or flight response during sudden fear or danger. How estrogen affects it. Low estrogen removes a natural calming buffer on the nervous system, leading to higher adrenaline activity, increased stress sensitivity, sharper fight or flight physical reactions. There's that rage that you were talking about.
And jumpiness.
Yep. When estrogen drops, the body reacts more intensely to daily stressors. Heightened anxiety. Less estrogen reduces calming brain signals, leaving adrenaline-driven nervousness to panic feelings more exposed. Racing heart. Surges of adrenaline can happen unexpectedly, causing sudden heart pounding and palpitations. Sleep disruptions. Nighttime hormone dips can trigger sudden adrenal rushes, leading to night wakes, hot flashes, and trouble falling back asleep. Wired and tired. Chronic overactivation leaves the nervous system exhausted yet unable to truly relax in a calm state. Strategies. You need to calm your adrenal glands. No kidding, right? Vitamin C, B5 are key nutrients that help regulate, support the adrenal glands during stress. The vitamin C in high concentrations are stored in the adrenal glands. It helps lower and regulate cortisol production during stress. Vitamin B5, essentially for manufacturing stress hormones and support the adrenal cortex. B6 works with B5 to support the nervous system and create calming neurotransmitters like GABA. Magnesium, often paired with vitamins, it helps calm the nervous system and regulate the body's stress response system. Don't forget, too much magnesium is also a laxative. When you go in for procedures, they have you drink a bottle of magnesium to clean you out. Herbs and spices for adrenaline to help regulate it. Ashwagandha, an adaptogen root that helps stabilize the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, directly blunting your body's psychological response to stress. Rhodiola, known as Arctic root. This herb mitigates fatigues and reduces the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. Holy basil, the Tulsi, the HPA axis regulator, actively calms the nervous system and lowers circulating stress hormones. Lavender, excellent for acute surges of adrenaline. This herb can lower heart rate and blood pressure. It is often used via aromatherapy or as a tea to induce immediate relaxation. Magnesium, found in pumpkin seeds and spinach. Magnesium glycate helps relax muscles and soothe heart rhythms. L-theanine, an amino acid found in green tea, reduces the nervous system. Potassium, found in bananas and leafy greens, manages blood pressure levels. L-arginine, an amino acid in nuts and seeds, helps blood vessels widen for better blood flow. Garlic contains allicin, which helps support healthy blood pressure and heart function. Omega-3s, found in fish and salmon, support long-term heart health. There's a metabolic and stress hormone where both your metabolism and your stress. Anyone want to take a guess on that one? HGH, human growth hormone. It is both a metabolic and stress hormone rather than a sex hormone. It is produced by the pituitary gland to manage growth, energy, and physical stress responses. Metabolic roles: controls how your body handles fats, proteins, and sugars. Breaks down fat tissue for energy, which is called lipolysis. Raises blood sugar levels by counteracting insulin during fasting. For the stress role, it acts as a physical stress responder during low blood sugar, trauma, or heavy exercise. And it increases hormone release to protect blood glucose levels and preserve muscle tissue during shortages. Low estrogen generally decreases the secretion and systematically activity of human growth hormone. It is a downstream mediator. IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor, that is the downstream mediator. Estrogen normally stimulates the pituitary gland to release HGH, meaning a drop in insulin, and estrogen reduces your natural drive. I don't know why they just don't hand out estrogen pills when you're born,
Right.
because that seems to be the one thing that controls a lot for us. Hormonal interactions: pituitary output. Low estrogen reduces the pituitary gland signals for releasing HGH, while low estrogen reduces pituitary HGH releases back. If you add back in estrogen, especially orally, it actually fights the HGH that's made in your liver. Strategies: lose belly fat. Excess fat around your stomach directly lowers HGH production. Intermittent fasting. Short term, which would be like the 12-12, keeps your insulin low, which helps your HGH go up. So if you stop eating at 7 o'clock at night and you don't eat again until 7 o'clock the next morning, your HGH has all night to actually come back and produce itself. Cut down on sugar. High insulin spikes sweet and starchy foods, block your body from making HGH. Stop eating before bed 2 to 3 hours so your insulin can drop, so your HGH can go up. Do high intensity workouts. Here's the opposite of what we were told. Fast sprints, heavy weightlifting, create a lactic acid burn and trigger HGH release. Those high intensity workouts, you might have heard them called HIIT, H-I-I-T. They don't last more than 20 minutes. So that's where you're stopping yourself at the spike of the cortisols. So you've got to stop at the 20 minutes. Sleep deeply, 7 to 9 hours if you can. I am not going to be able to say this. Mucuna purines contains L-DOPA, which may stimulate the pituitary hormone release. These are your herbs and spices. Ashwagandha, your adaptogen root, manages stress and supports the endocrine system. Astragalus. Standardized extracts have been researched for growth factor 1 in youth people and younger people. Sex hormones. Estrogen, main female sex hormone, controls your monthly cycles and sexual development. Low estrogen affects the entire body, triggering hot flashes, irregular periods, mood changes. It disrupts temperature regulation, reduces bone density, and decreases tissue moisture. The temperature regulation also has to do with the cortisol. So if you can fix your cortisol, you might not have the hot flashes or lessen of the hot flashes. Hot flashes, night sweats, sudden waves of body heat caused by the confused temperature center in the brain. Vaginal dryness and pain, thinning and drying the reproductive tissues. Irregular missing periods, delayed or absent cycles because the hormone is needed to build the uterine lining. Weight gain, shifts in how the body stores fat, often leading to extra weight around the belly. Skin and hair changes, dry skin, slower collagen production, thus thinning hair. Mood swings, sudden sadness, anger, worry caused by lower levels of mood balancing chemicals like serotonin. Sleep problems, trouble falling or staying asleep, made worse by night sweats. Brain fog, trouble focusing, remembering things or thinking clearly. Weak bones, faster bone loss, a raise in the risk of fractures. Heart concerns, changes in cholesterol, blood vessels that can raise heart disease and risk over time. Frequent infections, higher chance of urinary tract infections due to thinning urinary and vaginal tissue. Here are your strategies. Healthy body weight. Gaining a little weight if you're underweight helps your body make and store more estrogen because fat is where estrogen is produced once the ovaries are kaput. Moderate exercise. Cut back on your over-exercising because working out too much can also lower your estrogen. Lower stress. High stress makes cortisol, which messes up your hormones in your body. Eating phytoestrogens. Foods like soy, flaxseed, and sesame seeds have plant compounds that act like estrogen. Hormone replacement therapy. Prescription checks. A doctor can run a blood test to see if your levels are low and to treat you accordingly based on what you should have been naturally. I did see today the creams versus the pills are actually working better for people. So the estrogen, the testosterone, the progesterone creams are working better. Here's some herbs and spices that might help. Red clover contains isoflavones that mimic estrogen, often used to ease hot flashes. Licorice root acts as a sedative modulator, helping raise or lower estrogen impact as needed. Fenugreek, used both as an herb and a spice, it contains properties that may help support healthy estrogen and estradiol levels. Black cohosh, often used to ease symptoms by supporting estrogen activity in specific tissues like bone. Garlic contains active elements that have mild estrogen-like effects on the body. Sage supports overall hormonal transition and reduces intense sweating. Vitex works on the pituitary gland to support a healthy balance between estrogen and progesterone. If your progesterone and estrogen are out of whack, that also causes, if they're not decreasing at the same rate, that'll also cause severe digestive issues. Maca root supports the endocrine system and helps manage menopausal shifts. Ginger and turmeric provide an anti-inflammatory benefit and support overall metabolic and hormonal health. Progesterone prepares and supports the uterus for during monthly cycles and early pregnancy. Low estrogen commonly leads to low progesterone. By preventing normal ovulation, disrupting hormonal signals, causing irregular periods, both hormones are produced by the ovaries, meaning a failure in ovarian function drops them together, but does not necessarily drop them at the same time. No ovulation. Estrogen helps trigger ovulation. If estrogen is too low, egg is not released. Without ovulation, the body does not form the corpus luteum needed to make progesterone. Shared source. Both hormones rely heavily on ovarian follices. When the ovaries slow down during perimenopause or high stress, they fail to make adequate amounts of both. Receptor dependency. Estrogen helps prime and support tissue responsiveness. So low levels blunt overall hormone balance. Strategies. Targeted supplements. Doctors may suggest magnesium, vitamin B6, chasteberry, which is also that Vitex. Those all support natural progesterone production. That last page has that chart. The top picture is the nutrients and some of the food choices that go with it. Root cause and care. Treating underlying issues like thyroid imbalances or ovulation disorders help your body make hormones normally again. Hormone therapy. Manage stress, lowering cortisol through rest and calm activities. Improve sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours. Adjust your exercise. Moderation supports hormone health while avoiding extreme over-exercising or severe calorie restriction. Here are some of your herbs and spices for progesterone. The Vitex or chasteberry, like I said, helps the pituitary gland signal the body to produce more progesterone by lowering prolactin levels. Ashwagandha acts as an adaptogen to lower stress and reduce high cortisol, which otherwise blocks progesterone. Maca root supports the endocrine system, helps encourage healthy hormone signaling for the luteal phase. Licorice root, used in some traditional mixtures to help balance reproductive hormones, though it should be avoided if you have high blood pressure. Testosterone. In the boutiques in Washington, the boutique clinics, that's what we started calling them. They're not really clinics, but you can go in and get the banana bags and the hydrations and all of the GLP-1s. There was a big thing for implanting testosterone pellets into women out there. You weren't getting any of the other hormones, you were just getting a testosterone pellet. And it was supposed to be slow release over, I don't know, however many months. That was their quick fix. Nobody ever said they felt any better or worse. Just cost them $600 to have that happen.
Ooh.
Main male hormone, also made in small amounts in women, builds muscle, bone, and sex drive. Low estrogen does not directly decrease testosterone. Instead, the two hormones are linked in a feedback loop. Testosterone is actually converted into estrogen. So the reason we can lose muscle is because the testosterone we have to keep our muscle is now trying to create estrogen. When testosterone is low, estrogen drops. Blocking estrogen synthesis generally leaves direct testosterone levels unchanged while altering physical and sexual function. Conversion. The body changes testosterone into estrogen, which is estradiol, used as an enzyme called, I can't read this, aromatase. Shared decline. Because estrogen relies on testosterone as raw material, low testosterone inherently results in low estrogen. The feedback loop. Estrogen helps signal the brain to regulate hormone release, but a primary deficit in estrogen does not starve the body of testosterone. Body fat. Estrogen primarily regulates fat accumulation, meaning low levels of either hormone can increase your body fat. Sex function. Low levels of both hormones heavily contribute to reduced sex drive and sexual dysfunction. Muscle and strength. Testosterone directly regulates muscle size and strength, which typically remains stable if the testosterone is more normal when estrogen production is suppressed. Strategy. Balanced menu. 30 grams of lean protein per meal, medium strength training. If you look at the last page again, at the very bottom, there are examples of what 30 grams of protein might look like. Another one of your strategies is also more hormone replacement therapy. That would be the creams that I was telling you about and the testosterone pellet. Herbs and spices that might help. Ashwagandha lowers the stress hormone of cortisol, which helps protect and optimize natural testosterone production. Fenugreek contains compounds that may help prevent testosterone from converting to estrogen, supporting free testosterone levels. Ginger acts as an antioxidant in reproductive tissue, helping improve circulation, sperm health, and hormone synthesis. Asian red ginseng may boost overall vitality and support mild increases in blood testosterone levels. Garlic, rich in antioxidants that protect the cell responsible for making testosterone. Things to lessen insulin spikes. It's not hard to do, you just have to remember to do it. The order in which you eat your food off your plate. If you can eat your vegetables first, then your fats and proteins, and then if there is a carbohydrate on there. What happens is it layers, just like what it sounds. So if you got your vegetables at the bottom, your fats and proteins, and then your carbohydrates, that will slow any insulin spikes just by doing that on its own. Of course, unless you're overdoing your carbohydrates. But then this one is a fun one, and there are studies on it. So if you sit there after you've had your carbohydrate meal, and you actually just do, and it doesn't have to be fast, just sit there and just do calf raises. The muscle in your calf eats up glucose in your bloodstream quicker than any other muscle. I don't know why. There is a study for it. You just gotta remember to do that after every meal. Or take that 10-minute walk that we talked about. So then you think about that 10-minute walk, is it really just because you're activating your calf muscles and they're sucking up the glucose in your system? It's probably more than that. You are moving everything, but still. It's kind of fun to see how some of this stuff starts to come back around again.
Yeah. They get bigger by doing that?
You're a runner. No, it's not going to happen. Yours aren't going to get any bigger. All right, 21-day anti-inflammatory menu. On week 1, I gave you the Mediterranean menu. That is also an anti-inflammatory menu. Week 1 focuses on replacing processed snacks and added sugars with whole foods. Then you can see that there is an example of what your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner would look like. Oatmeal, rolled oats with water or unsweetened almond milk, topped with half a cup of berries, tablespoon of chopped almonds, and a sprinkle of cinnamon. Notice how they did not add any sugar to that other than the berries. Lunch, Mediterranean quinoa salad, 1 cup of quinoa with diced cucumber, cherry tomatoes, half a cup of chickpeas, and a dressing of olive and lemon juice. I've never heard of anybody adding a dash of honey. Dinner, lemon, herb, salmon, or chicken with roasted asparagus. Snack, an apple with a tablespoon of almond butter and a handful of walnuts. In doing this research for you guys, I came across a lady who is 108 years old.
Wow.
She lives by herself. She drives her own car. She exercises daily. And she said one thing she does every single day is eats an apple, a red-skinned apple. Week 2 on the 21-day reset, incorporate more fiber-rich vegetables and healthy unsaturated fats into your daily meals. You can see they've added avocado, but you do get a piece of toast. The berry walnut chicken salad, dinner, vegetable curry, and then serve over brown rice. I could just eat the curry itself, the curry soup itself without the rice. Chickpeas can be added for any protein. Chili pepper if you need a little bit of heat. Snacks, hard-boiled eggs, baby carrots, and hummus. Week 3, you're establishing consistency with anti-inflammatory herbs and diverse plant proteins to maintain long habits. Breakfast, we're back to the berry almond oatmeal. You're going to find that in a lot of these things, it's repetition. There's not a lot of variety. I'm okay with that. I actually can meal prep at the beginning of the week, and I'm okay with eating the same thing because it just means that I don't have to think about anything later on. Lunch, spiced lentil quinoa bowl, green lentils, quinoa, olive oil, cumin, turmeric, cinnamon. Does anybody actually have turmeric as a spice in their kitchen spices?
3 bottles of it.
Do you use it regularly?
No.
Then why do you have 3 bottles of it?
I bought it to make different things and then
Just never got around
just,
to it?
yeah, and this time involved trying to make things.
Except there really isn't. Because they tell you can even take that turmeric if you make your own spaghetti sauce. You're putting pepper in spaghetti sauce. You can put a little turmeric in that. You can put the turmeric in your soups, in your stews, in your crock pot. You don't actually have to have a special recipe.
There's a cereal too that has turmeric in it.
Really?
Yeah,
That- Does it? Have you tried it?
yeah, and you can taste the turmeric. And, I mean, it's not overpowering, but you can taste it.
You know it's
but,
there. Dinner, 1 pan lemon herb chicken and veggies. We all like 1 pan. That just sounds like something we'd normally make. Snacks, an apple with almond butter, walnut, pistachio trail mix. Food types that you should try to incorporate for that 21-day reset or anti-inflammatory menu. Colorful fruits and vegetables, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, cherries, oranges, leafy greens, spinach, kale, and lettuce, broccoli, mushrooms, and bell peppers. You can add in the pomegranate seeds to that. Carrots, sweet potatoes are rich in antioxidants called polyphenols that help protect the cell from damage. Healthy fats, extra virgin olive oil. Does everybody know the trick? I've been learning about this myself, the trick with your extra virgin olive oils. Cold pressed, you want to make sure it comes from one region, and then you want to make sure that it only says olive oil on it, because a lot of times they're mixing the olive oil with other seed oils now to cut costs. You apparently know you have a good olive oil when you take a spoonful of it and it chokes you. You've got a peppery choke in the back of your throat. That is supposed to be a top quality olive oil. Some people are actually doing a shot of it a day now. Again, when you do that, then you have to take out the 160 calories that might have been in your 1,200 calorie menu, and you have to account for that. All of your seeds, chia and flax, almonds, walnuts, those are all healthy fats. Fatty fishes, salmon, mackerel, sardines. Tunas are high in omega-3s, which are known for their anti-inflammatory effects. Whole grains, oats, quinoa, brown rice, and whole wheat bread provide dietary fiber. How many people just have one slice of bread if they have bread though? Most people, good for you, good for you.
They make like big sandwiches, like
Like the avocado toast and all
yeah,
that stuff.
toast with the egg on it.
Yep, okay. Most people do not, but one slice of bread is the serving. And then does everybody know what a serving of rice is?
Cup.
Nope, half a cup. Yes, half a cup. Half a cup. The healthy grains help to support a healthy gut and can lower inflammation. Legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas are a great source of fiber and plant-based. We go back to the Mediterranean diet that I gave you. That's a half a cup to 1 cup of beans a day to get in that fiber. We are supposed to have, on average, about 30 grams of fiber a day. Most people are lucky if they get 10. There is a girl out there right now, she has an entire YouTube channel on beans and bean recipes. She dropped 60 pounds by incorporating that much beans into her daily menu. And now she's got 4 cookbooks on bean shakes, bean stews, bean desserts. Foods to control but not eliminate. I suggest once to twice a week because what's the point if you can't have a slice of birthday cake or a piece of pie or any of that stuff? Sugar beverages and sweets, refined carbs, processed and red meats. Back to the Mediterranean diet. You notice that they only had, I want to say it was 4 ounces of red meat a week, I think it was. Fried foods, french fries, fried chicken, and other deep fried items. And then certain oils. Processed seed oils, vegetable oils like soybean and corn are high on the omega-6. Omega-6 can cause inflammation, which is bizarre because guess what's mostly olive oil? Omega-6. But that reduces inflammation. How to build one of these menus. The easiest thing to shoot for is that plate at the bottom. Divide your plate in half. Half of it should be vegetables. Then the last half you have, divide that in half. So you're going to get a quarter for your protein and a quarter for your fruit or your carbohydrate. That is the easiest way to set up any one of those meals. And then your very last page is your cheat sheets to give you a quick reference on the progesterone, minerals and vitamins, and the 30 grams of protein. What you're looking at when you're looking at the double chart, there are suggestions for how much protein you should have in a day. In the exercise world, we would lean towards that second chart. So you'd find your weight and or find your goal weight and shoot for that. 120 grams of protein a day is almost impossible to do. You are eating at a constant unless you're willing to do a protein shake or something like that. But, and I will try to remember to email you guys this as well. There is a guide that shows you what 100 grams of protein looks like, and it's a plate to show you what 100 grams of protein could look like. So it included yogurt, nuts, seeds, slices of cheese, bacon, sausage, eggs, regular ham, regular chicken. It was all normal food. But when we think, oh my God, I have to eat 100 grams of protein, you're like, what am I going to do? And then you look at this plate and it shows you, it even included half a cup of oatmeal, I think, because that has protein in it. We often don't think peas have protein, pumpkin has protein, hemp has protein. Things that you might be putting on your salads are more protein than you realize. They're just not complete proteins until you mix them with something else. Did you happen to notice on the adaptogens, ashwagandha was almost on every single list?
And
Yep.
that's like new,
To you?
like in everything. That, I don't remember seeing that always before.
No, but you
No,
want to
it's-
know something? So if you research what Chuck Norris was actually, him and his wife were working on to get her out of whatever illness that was
Yeah.
that she'd gotten into,
Is that,
ashwagandha was in there. Yeah, yep. Can anybody be allergic to it? Yeah, we all can be allergic to anything. But until you try it, or your doctor says go ahead and give it a try, you'll never know. I've never had a reaction to it. I don't know anybody who's ever had a reaction to it, but it doesn't mean it can't happen, because then you should put it into that drug.com and find out if it has any interactions to any medications that you might be on. Again, there's a million sources that came off of this as well. All of them you're gonna find are almost identical to the sources from last week. Thank you all for coming. If you have questions, let me know.